chair is grabbable, but it's...
What is up, guys? I don't know why I was waving my hands around like that. It has been an eventful year. All right, I just want to touch a little base with you guys. Since the last Q&A was like a few months ago, and you guys haven't seen an update video since. And all you guys have seen is all these, I guess, different videos on the channel. So we're gonna talk about a lot of things. I recorded this like 4 times already because I've talked too long. I wanted to cut it down to a nice sizable chunk. So we're gonna go right through it. We're gonna nick it. What am I doing? First, I want to start with where have I been on the internets. I'm sure some of you know that I've been on the TOVG podcast for a while now, actually. Wow. I didn't realize how long it's been. It's like I went up there. What? Nope. I'm not gonna blab. I'm on there with Jim Barino, Sunder Gamer, and Super I Don't Like Fun Hop. The last podcast was a cluster cast with a bunch of dads getting together and calling each other daddy. If you don't know about the cluster cast, maybe you shouldn't know. Maybe you should skip this week's podcast. Just skip. If you enjoy a cluster, we have different varieties every week, so that's pretty good. No, it's actually a pretty decent podcast. You should probably listen. Speaking of podcasts, though, you remember Visual Wood? You remember when I used to do that podcast? You remember when it was on this channel? Well, guess what? Well, the podcast is not back, but we do have our own channel now for Visual Wood with my British friend, and we play a little bit of Fallout 4 this week, a little bit of Call of Duty, and we throw in a little bit of Minecraft. I'm gonna take off my pants right quick. It's getting really hot in here because in order to get like decent audio, like you have to like literally, it gets a little hot. So don't worry about that. Don't worry, you won't see nothing. Oh damn, it's good to feel the boys breathe. You know what I'm saying? Anyways, we're gonna jump right into it. I'm not gonna talk too long about this, but all right, I'll try not to anyway. It's 2016. The channel is obviously different. For the people who have been with me for a very long time, you notice that the channel has changed a bit. A few things are missing, a few things are new. I really wanted to push myself my creativity a lot more. I wanted to push my writing. I wanted to grow, and I finally see the fruits of that of actually seeing, a lot of the stuff I feel better than my old stuff. And, a lot of people asking where's like Guild Wars 2, and a lot of people who are just new here, they have no idea what I'm talking about. But I used to do a lot of Guild Wars 2 videos, and it's kind of what kind of started me up on YouTube. Now, I've never been a mono gamer. I grew up from Nintendo on and played every single system. Played the movie franchise games, on Super Nintendo. Played all the classics. I grew up with just the escape of video games, and Guild Wars 2 just puts me in a box where it pretty much just it tells you can't do anything out of this. There's nothing more. When you're doing one game, it limits everything you do. So you see this with many YouTubers where you're put inside of a box and you cannot try different things within that field because it limits what you can do with your creativity with that one game, and I can't survive in a box like that. I have to push for something else. I have to try different things. I have to, experience different games. I have to be involved. It's what I grew up with. It's part of my life, kind of. Even if I didn't even have a YouTube channel, I would still be playing games because I'm a nerd. I'm a nerd. I'm a nerd with a lot other things as well. It's not just video games. I play cards. I collect comics. I watch anime. I'm all over the place. And to kind of put myself in this, you are going to be a Guild Wars 2 guy for you know, the rest of the time that you're on here. And thinking about the future, I can't see myself just playing one game for I don't know how long I'm gonna be on this website. You know, maybe I get a job. Anybody out there want an editor? I'm pretty good. I want to get hired by a company. I want benefits. I don't want to have to pay. I don't want to have to pay for my hospital bills anymore. Someone's texting me. What's the point of being on this website and try to grow a channel if you're not doing something that you enjoy? You know, I might as well be a telemarketer. You know, that I call people. You know, like, what's good? How you doing? I like to sell you some knives. You know what I'm saying? So you can cut your sweet, juicy. I heard you got some buns in the oven that need some slicing. Anyways, that's pretty much it. So, Guild Wars 2 guys, you know, I love you. You've been with me for so long. You stayed on the channel for this long. But you're probably not going to see another Guild Wars 2 video in the sense of how they used to be. If you ever see a Guild Wars 2 video, it will be a relevant thing, like a review or a story or anything like that, which takes me to a different topic. Stuff that you want to see on the channel, or stuff I'm going to put on the channel would, you know, I'm definitely working on stories. I just haven't really, usually when a story comes out, I'm motivated to do it. Like, I think of something, it wraps around, and I do it, and then that's when you see it out. So far, what you've been seeing mostly have been reviews, but of course I want to do skits. I want to do a lot of different things, like out of the blue. You're going to see some random stuff sometimes. You're going to see some random stuff because the channel is called MattVisual, and you're going to see MattVisual videos. That's like the motivation of like this year is trying new stuff, getting out of the comfort zone, trying some weird things, you know, like maybe fall flat on my face, not caring. I've been wanting to review my Oculus Rift, not just Oculus Rift, but just VR in general. And I don't know, people have been kind of salty. A lot of people on the TLVG podcast will know what I'm talking about, where I complain about the response of VR right now. Like, everyone is just like, it's always constant attack. Oh, you shouldn't get Gear VR because it sucks. Oh, you shouldn't get Oculus Rift because they're trying to kill the industry. Oh, you shouldn't get the Vive or whatever. But most people are always for the Vive because it's just like Sony and Xbox. Xbox got bad press, so all of a sudden, Sony, even though they did nothing, they got sprouted up like, oh my gosh, Sony PlayStation 1, everything. I'm buying a Sony PlayStation. That's kind of how it is. People want to be attached to something for some reason. And I don't want my video to be about freaking drama. Okay? Like, there's enough drama on YouTube that I could give two craps about. All right? Like, I don't live off of negativity. And I'd rather not talk about something that I'm so passionate about. I've tried Vive multiple times for hours because we have like a little meetup here in Atlanta, and I have this at home, and like I don't see them as these two separate things that, oh, I'm part of this crowd and I'm part of this crowd. It's like the console wars about and Call of Duty and Battlefield 1. Like, what is the argument? What the hell? All right, I'm not going to get too much into it because I could talk about this for a while. All right. Scrapped. Decided to cleanse the palette for Metal Gear Solid 4 because Metal Gear Solid 4, it put me in the mood, man. It put me in the mood of like, I'm not looking forward to the rest of the games. Just I don't want to go in to Peace Walker with bad taste in my mouth and be salty throughout the whole thing. And that's why usually I kind of want to take some breaks from the series and review some other stuff, you know, just kind of get out of the mindset of Metal Gear. The response was, you know, crazy. You know, some people didn't like what I did. Some people didn't like, you know, I think some people played it when they were younger and remember it a certain way, because not to say that it's bad to like this game, because that's not what I'm saying. Many people who have known me, like whatever you like. I like plenty of games that people consider as bad games. It doesn't matter. Like whatever the hell you like. I remember something a certain way. Somebody in the comments was like, "Oh, I can't believe Matthew liked Mass Effect 2 because Mass Effect 2's story is garbage. And you picked apart Metal Gear 4. How come you didn't, how could you say that Mass Effect 2 is good?" Listen, don't say that. When you're back in the days where you don't really look too deeply into things. You just take it as face value, oh, good story, good combat, boom, and plus I love sci-fi. This was right up my alley. I would hate to replay this and see that you were right about Mass Effect 2 being bad. I don't want it to be bad. I don't want it to be another Mass Effect 3. This better be good when I replay it, damn it. Because I'm a reviewer now, and eventually I feel like you go into this mode where you're reviewing things and you're not there's a slight enjoyment tweak to it, because you're reviewing it and you have to be critical on certain things. It tends to put you in this mode, where you're not just going to the movies to get a good popcorn movie. I'm pretty sure there's many movies that people go and see where they're like, "Oh, it wasn't perfect, but I enjoyed myself," and I don't think I've lost sight of that just yet. So it's not Metal Gear Solid 4. I didn't like it. So, oh well, I didn't like it. I don't want to lose sight of that for sure. That's why I take breaks and play some other games and then come back to the MGS series again, so I'm not so tunneled. Because I'm playing these games right after each other. I'm remembering things that I just played. So, I'm a little bit different than the normal person playing these games. Not many people have played it back to back to back to back to back. So you end up realizing things. You end up realizing a lot of things, and that's what you see in the videos, is me just realizing, picking apart. But most people won't even realize a lot of this stuff because they're not playing it back to back like I am. That's my excuse for dogging on it so bad. Forgive me. Also, for Metal Gear Solid 4, I'm going to remaster it, take out some copyrighted content, and kind of put it back on the channel with, of course, no ads. I'm going to take down the old one, put the new one in, and that would be the main thing. So go there, give it a like if you like it. If you liked it before, or dislike if you disliked it before, whatever floats your boat. So now down to the real hardcore stuff. So if you want to remain oblivious to certain things, you might want to leave because it's about to get real. It's about to get real in here real quick. So why the uploads are a little bit wonky sometimes. All right, there's a couple things why. The first thing is kind of like the obvious thing is YouTube does not earn a lot, and recently I've needed some cash, so I've been doing a little bit of side job stuff, other obviously life stuff, and it's taking away time from YouTube. Basically the bulk of the money I get from YouTube is Patreon, people who support me officially, directly. And it's like the money I make, let's put it this way, the money I make off of YouTube alone is not enough to pay my phone bill. So most of the time I'm doing side jobs and working on channels. Side jobs, working on a channel. Another thing is that is the Metal Gear reviews. Every game gets harder and harder and more time consuming. A lot of research goes into those. A lot of replaying the game goes into those, and it takes a while. I used to be able to knock them out in a week. Now that is not a case anymore. And of course, sometimes I want to take a little break because after one of those Metal Gear reviews, you kind of just wanna sleep. You get that negatitis, when you eat too much, you just wanna lay out. And the other thing, which kind of ties into the life thing, is that I never mentioned these types of things, and I put it at the end of the video so people who watch through it will, those people want to know, they will know here. Many people might know this from the podcast. When I used to do the podcast, I would talk about it. I have something called periodic paralysis, okay? When you see me standing in front of the camera, I'm okay. But when I'm not, basically, it's when my body gets randomly paralyzed, okay? If I'm cold, too hot, sleep too long, sit too long, the wind blows, my body might have an attack that would render me not be able to walk upstairs to the point of not being able to move in the morning. This happened to get a lot worse this year. And it's why sometimes you will see a gap in videos, is because it's a bit hard to do videos when you're like your body's just drained of energy. Don't worry, I've been going through this for my whole life, so it's nothing new. I've been going through this since the start of YouTube. It's just I'm pushing myself to switch. It's the reason why I went vegan in the first place. I'm switching different diets. I'm switching eating habits, I would say, because really I'm not gonna just go back to something. I'm trying to figure out what works for my body. Every time you do something, everyone's body's different. So I'm trying to figure out what works with my body. What vitamins do I have to take? What types of foods should I eat? Should I stay away from certain types of foods? I've been trying to figure that out for the past, like hardcore, I would say 5 years. So, I actually got diagnosed, a few years ago, because we didn't have enough money when I was young, we didn't have enough money, man, like I've been through, I ain't had such a clean, childhood, you know what I'm saying? So it's now I'm just getting hardcore into it, and sometimes you may not see a video in a couple weeks, hopefully, but I absolutely do try to put out stuff as fast as possible. I'm not doing it on purpose. It's not that I'm just, I'm lazy and blah blah, blah like that. Like it's legitimate. I'm going through things, and now that you know. It's not that it's an excuse, because even with this, I don't like excuses. I'm gonna put out stuff, and I should put out stuff more frequently. It's multiple things at once stopping me from being super hardcore. So yeah, now that we've gotten to know each other a little bit more, I think we could go on our first date. You know what I'm saying? So how does 10 a.m. Sound? Pick you up early, maybe see an early movie because it's a lot cheaper. The early movies are like $6. You know what I'm saying? That's not bad, dude. $4.50 in some of the rough places in the hood. But we ain't gonna go there. Get yourself a soda pop. Watch, I don't know. Watch the latest Twilight movie or Hunger Games, the Teen Pop, and then we go get some McDonald's.